All right, we're coming up to a new year where a lot of people are probably going to be making some resolutions. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to make a resolution to lose the 19 pounds they gained during quarantine, right? We called it COVID 19 because we would gain 19 pounds, right? A lot of people are going to make a resolution to lose weight. I think that's the wrong approach. And the reason is nobody likes to lose stuff, right? Nobody likes to sacrifice things or to deprive themselves of things, and so I think that's not the best approach. And it's not the best approach for another reason, because weight is only one symptom of a much bigger complex of problems, right? You have an unhealthy relationship with food. Yes, that can cause weight problems. It also causes a lot of other problems that don't even have anything to do with weight or weight-related issues, right? See, a lot of people comment that why did you need to, when they hear that my resolution 2 years ago was to normalize my relationship with food, the first comment people hear that say is that you weren't overweight, you didn't have diabetes or heart attack, or people will comment that, right? Why did I need to lose weight? I didn't need to lose weight. I needed to normalize my relationship with food, right? Losing weight is only part of that, right? I thought I would bring up an example of why it's so important for me to have a normal relationship with food, aside from weight problems. So 3 months ago, I was living in an Airbnb in Phoenix, Arizona, when I ran into a lot of conflict with a couple of my roommates. They weren't bad people, but we had different lifestyles. I was living with a bunch of college students, and I had a problem with using the common areas. One of my roommates, he's just very quiet and reserved, and it drove me nuts, right? And I was about to, one day I get home and I'm home alone. I was about to prepare some fish. I got it out of the refrigerator, and it's dripping all over the floor. I think no big deal. I'll get some paper towels to clean it up. And the paper towels are nowhere to be found. I have to go out to buy some paper towels. And, in the past, I used to get so crazy about wanting to eat what I wanted to eat whenever I wanted to. I would just live with that mess, right? So I go out to get the paper towels. And then I realize I have nowhere to clean my dishes because the sink is just piled high with dishes. Nobody wants to touch other people's dishes, right? So it just becomes a big log jam when you have everybody's dishes in the sink. Especially this year, nobody wants to touch other people's dishes. I normally can't because I have allergies as it is. You add to that the other thing that people don't want to touch, and the sink just becomes a disaster, right? And so on top of that, a couple days later, I'm about to eat again, and my silverware is nowhere to be found. I had purchased several sets of silverware. First of all, there was no silverware in the house to begin with. I had purchased several sets, and they completely disappeared. And I thought I had misplaced them, because I do that too. So I went out to get another set, and this time I was very careful where to put it. And I had 2 spoons, 2 forks, 2 knives, and I was pretty sure where I put them, because I wanted to clean up my personal organization habits too. After all, I moved to a new place in Phoenix that I really got along with. And the next day, I came back to the kitchen, and it was really funny. The 2 forks had disappeared. It was almost surgical how they had disappeared, like they had evaporated into thin air. And I knew I hadn't touched them because I was going on an intermittent fast during that time. So I talked to my roommate, the one who was really reserved and quiet, and he told me that because he knew that I was a little bit older than all the other roommates there. He told me that you gotta, if you want to keep your silverware and your toilet paper, you gotta hide it in your room. This is college life. He was kind of teaching me all about college life because I had forgotten it. I needed a review, right? I felt sad at that remark. I don't mind having to move my stuff to the room. Don't get me wrong, but I want to live somewhere where we can be family together, right? And so instead of hiding toilet paper and silverware in my room, I decided to go out and buy a ton of silverware and toilet paper because I'd rather do that. I don't want to live in a almost like a shelter situation or even a jail, it seems like, right, where you have to hide your stuff. See, if you have to hide your stuff, you might as well just live in a shelter or a jail, right? And so I'd rather go out and buy toilet paper and silverware than to deal with that. And so I bought enough toilet paper and silverware that, it could disappear every day and I wouldn't mind. And here's the funny part. I went out and bought about 20 forks, if I remember correctly, and I told my roommate how sad that is that we have to live like that. And the next day, all the forks that had disappeared the days previous to that all of a sudden just reappeared somehow. My guess is that I had been talking to this roommate about how in the past my eating disorder would get in the way and I would get angry about stuff like that. I'd get angry about not having paper towels and I would live in a mess because I'd rather eat than to deal with that, or eat with my hands rather than looking for forks, and get angry at people. And my guess is that he didn't mean to take the forks. Nobody steals a couple forks to go to a pawn shop and get like 10 cents each for them. He just misplaced them, took them to his office, forgot to bring them home, and when he heard how constructive all those stories were, it opened him up to bring them home, right? And so, being overweight or having type 2 diabetes or other weight-related issues is only one part of a much bigger complex, right, of not having control of your eating faculties, right? Thought I would point that out. So stop talking about losing weight and start talking about living your life, right?